Hey, if you've ever stood in a workshop, looking at a pile of tools and wondering whether you should finally invest in some real storage before the next project turns your floor into a junkyard, you're not alone. I know that hesitation, all too well, spending money on a chest that promises industrial strength, only to find it cramped, or worse, locked out of your own parts. That's why I spent a few evenings digging through the specs, watching a couple of YouTube unboxings, and scrolling through the handful of reviews that actually exist for the Kennedy Manufacturing 2805 XB 29-inch 5-drawer top chest. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I want to walk through the moments where this chest can actually make a difference in your day, and the spots where you might be better off looking elsewhere. First off, let's talk about the kind of space where a top chest lives. Most people who buy a Kennedy 2805 XB already have a workbench, or a set of heavy-duty cabinets. The chest is designed to sit on top of those, giving you that extra tier of drawer space without having to rearrange your whole shop layout. The flat top surface is not just a marketing phrase, it really lets you stack a smaller Kennedy drawer, or a hand tool bin right on top, which is handy when you're doing a quick changeover and need a spot for a screwdriver set, or a couple of cut-off wheels. I've seen this in a couple of small automotive repair bays where the techs keep a 5-drawer chest on a rolling cabinet, then a mini chest of frequently used items on the flat top. It's a subtle but useful trade-off. You get more real estate for tools, but you also need to remember that the top will be occupied, so you have to plan your workflow accordingly. Now, the big question: who should actually buy this chest? If you already own a Kennedy 295 or 297 roller cabinet, this chest is practically a plug-in. The compatibility isn't just a convenience, it means the heavy-duty rollers and the locking mechanism line up perfectly, so you won't have to fight with mismatched hardware when you slide the chest onto a rolling base. That makes it an excellent add-on for an existing Kennedy system, or for anyone who's already committed to that brand's ecosystem. On the flip side, if you're starting a shop from scratch and you don't have any Kennedy cabinets, you might be better off looking at a more integrated solution, something that combines the chest and the base in one unit. The 2805 XB is a top chest, after all, so you'll need a solid foundation before it can do its job, and buying a separate base just to make it work adds extra cost and assembly steps. Practical strengths start with security. The tubular lock is a simple but effective way to keep your inventory safe. It's not a high-security safe, but for a workshop that needs to keep away kids or curb casual pilferage, it does the job. I've seen a couple of small business owners who keep their most expensive hand tools like torque wrenches and digital meters in a locked drawer, and the lock takes a little bit of effort to pick, which is all the deterrent they need. And because the lock is built into the drawer front, there's no awkward padlock hanging off the side, everything stays sleek and the chest keeps its industrial look. Another practical win is the material finish. The tan-brown Wrinkle veneer gives the chest a classic workshop vibe without the glaring glare of all metal surfaces. In bright daylight, or under a fluorescent shop lamp, the matte finish actually reduces reflections, which can be a small but noticeable comfort when you're pulling parts out and don't want the light bouncing off a shiny surface. This is a subtle detail that many users don't think about until they are actually working under a harsh light, and it can reduce eye strain over long periods. Now, the weaknesses: these are the parts that usually show up when you start using the chest day after day. First, drawer capacity. The 5 drawers are each around 2.5 inches deep, which works fine for small hand tools, fasteners, and electronic components. But if you try to shove a set of socket wrenches, or a pack of larger items, you'll find the drawers bottom out quickly. The internal dimensions aren't published in a big table, but you can gauge it by measuring a similar Kennedy chest. You'll likely need to keep the heaviest or bulkiest items in the lower drawers or on the base, not in the top chest. It means you have to think ahead about how you categorize tools, and you may end up using the top chest more for organization than for storage of large pieces. Another hidden trade-off is the weight. The chest is built in the USA, And you can feel the solid construction when you lift it. That's great for durability, but it also makes moving the chest a bit of a chore if you're planning on reconfiguring your shop. Rolling onto a